SSE's boxing tickets, and we are in Churchland Golden Gloves Gym in Coleraine. I never thought Matty be, making indie boxing and everything like that. I'll be back down in Coleraine doing an interview. I guess obviously it shows the circle obviously of boxing. Obviously a lot of it's in Belfast, Dublin, and everything else, and obviously not in Coleraine. Like you're the first obviously Coleraine professional in 25 years.
25 years, and
your coach was actually the last professional
one,
boxer in Coleraine. So
no, definitely.
obviously, how are you feeling? Obviously, you just turned over.
It didn't really feel real until kind of it's all happened, now it's all kind of starting to kick in, and I'm just looking forward to get going, really, to be honest with you. So it's good. So as it's a big step, and it's something, as you say, people in Coleraine probably aren't even really used to seeing or seeing, kind of, So no, definitely, I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to getting started and getting the road underway.
Is it something? I guess it's it's something new, it's something different. Like obviously you've boxed amateur for quite a few years now, and now that you're turning pro again, it's that excitement,
it's that fire in your belly, really, isn't it? I was boxed amateur since I was about 11 or 12, and I won the elites there in January. I didn't win them, but I was close. But I've done everything you kind of can do as an amateur around here anyway. So it's given me that fire to kind of go out of my bed in the morning and go for it, and gives you that extra bit in training to get going. Do you know what I mean?
What obviously got you first involved in boxing? Obviously, I know obviously the landscape of boxing, like there's been a lot of really good amateurs and things many years here in Coleraine. What was it like at indie boxing? Was it
my sister's boyfriend? He took us to a boxing club when I was 11 or 12. He boxed, so he did. He boxed for years. He boxed Jason Quigley when he was younger, so he did. And he took us up to here, up to Mickey's, and that's just been us ever since. So there's actually now me, my big brother, and my wee brother. We're all up here at Churchland. So no, it's good. It's more than just a boxing club. It's we're like a wee family up here, so we are. So it's definitely good.
I'm obviously I've been away from Coleraine probably for about 11 years or so now. Is there still the boxing club at Coleraine Showgrounds?
Yeah, well, that's it. They're holding a show here on Friday night too, so my brother's fighting in that too. So I was there for a wee while as well, so I was. But they've got it at the showgrounds in Coleraine, and then we've got up here. So there's plenty of opportunities, So it opens a lot of doors, kind of for people in Coleraine as well. So
it's like obviously when a small town like Coleraine obviously has two boxing clubs. Obviously, it shows that there is
the interest in it. Yeah. Boxing's probably bigger now than it's ever been in Northern Ireland, really, and Coleraine's the exact same as well. So no, definitely, as I say, it opens doors for other people in Coleraine, and hopefully it's just the start of everything in Coleraine, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
How have you obviously found adapting obviously to life, obviously particularly obviously in amateur boxing, obviously I guess the mindset, like I can remember obviously the first time I was sort of getting into any sort of self-defence, and it was actually karate. I was a little bit bored of it very, very quickly, but parents obviously sometimes look at it as it's good for self-defence and everything else like that. But you're obviously in a younger age bracket now where there'll be a lot of bullying and things like that.
Exactly, especially with social media and stuff like that nowadays. So like even there I do boxing pad work and stuff with people, and a lot of people come to me will never box, they'll never fight, but it gives them that self-defence that if somebody does try and start on them or somebody does try and bully them, they can defend themselves, which I think is really important, especially as you say today's day and age with the social media and stuff like that as well. So
how did you find sort of coming through school and things like that? Obviously being a boxer, like the people in your class.
Well, I started boxing when I was 12. I went into school and people took a hand out at me for starting to box. As you can imagine, the height of me now, I wasn't too tall whenever I was 12 years old. No, there wasn't much to me, and I remember going into school and people taking a hand out at me and saying, "You're starting boxing this," and I actually lost my first 5 amateur fights, and you can imagine how that went down. Whenever all that started, people were saying, "Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it?" Taking a hand out at you for doing it, and it just shows you, if you keep at it and keep training, you never know where you're going to end up, really.
It's it's a thing now, obviously in boxing. Like I think Matty Boreland, lost a good.
I think he's lost first 10 or something. I think it was, because whenever I lost my first 5, that's what they said to me. Matty Boreland's lost his first 10, so there's no reason to keep going. And it's like, so there's a wee boy at the club there, and I train him as well, and the club trains him, and he's lost his first couple of fights, and that's what I say to him. It doesn't matter. You learn more from a loss than you do a win. If you're winning all your fights, you win your first 10, then lose your 11th, you're maybe going to quit. If you lose your first 10 and win your 11th, you're going to keep at it longer because you've already tasted defeat. It makes you hungrier, I think, as well.
It's probably adapted you in the that mindset sort of now. It is that experience, and sometimes as a young kid, it's hard to take defeat.
It's
Like,
hard to take, yeah,
the
100%.
amount of people I spoke to and through the amateurs have been robbed of decisions, you know, hometown, you know.
Some bad decisions in amateur boxing too.
You know,
There's
and
maybe 50% of my losses just probably shouldn't have been the way they went, do you know what I mean?
how did you find sort of defeat as an amateur, particularly at the very start, sort of like, were you having to question yourself and
You
sort of
did, you question yourself and thought, why am I doing this? What's the point? Am I going to keep losing? Am I going to keep losing? But then you get that win and then it gives you the reason why you're doing all of it, do you know what I mean? And it gives you that drive in you to keep going and keep going.
It's that perseverance, isn't it? And
That is.
Is there anything, any other sports you're any good at, or?
I played football when I was younger, but I didn't have the massive amount of interest in it and stuff like that, you know, so it's just all boxing really, so it is. That's the same with everyone in the whole family really, my two brothers, it's just all, we sit in at the weekend, we watch boxing, we sit in during the week and watch highlights of boxing and stuff as well. It's just boxing in my house, so it is.
Growing up, obviously, within boxing from the age of 11, who would you sort of looked up to? Obviously, I think we're all in that age, obviously.
Frampton, really. Frampton was really, and Burnett obviously as well, and luckily enough now I'm training with him now as well, once a week, which is a big step. But Frampton, and then I remember going up to watch Burnett fight Haskins in the Odyssey. That was my first ever time watching the boxing, and I beat him that time as well, and that gave you more to fire, I think, to say, I want that to be me, do you know what I mean? Which people around here, as I say, they don't really have that, they don't see anybody doing it around their area, and if you don't see anybody doing it, you kind of think to yourself, how am I going to do it? But now there's a stepping stone for me and everyone else.
Particularly, like I was obviously at that Haskins fight, that's just been up now 7 years. Like, you think of obviously how even over the last 7 years Irish boxing's changed.
That's
like,
massive now, isn't it?
I know that obviously you boxed in Letterkenny, there's an exhibition in November.
That's right,
there,
yeah.
You know, we're seeing shows popping up everywhere. You
How
know, it's
how
not
many
just
shows
the
has there even
SSE.
been this year? There's been 6 or 7 shows at least this year, really,
Seven,
isn't it?
so the 8th show's coming up now next month, 10th of May. So like even within the last 7 years, obviously you've seen the development. Obviously Irish boxing's grown. Like,
No, definitely.
I know that obviously you're maybe starting out. You're a big Coleraine fan.
Yeah. I used to go to Coleraine matches all the time when I was younger. So hopefully the whole Coleraine can get behind me and hopefully maybe be walking out in a Coleraine jersey as well would be nice touch to it as well.
Did you go out to Coleraine jersey in your exhibition in Letterkenny, or did you decide against it?
I decided against it just I didn't want to be running out straight away and just in an exhibition. But I kind of, it's something I wanted to do, and it's something I hope they be doing here now. And once I get a date, then would be nice to something they do, you know, go to the top.
Is it something you can sort of dream at this stage? Like, you know, do you think of obviously Coleraine showgrounds?
Well, that's what I was saying that to Ian as well. I was like, that would be the top of it all, really, wouldn't it? The showgrounds.
Obviously, I know that they've obviously had to try to do a show in there and stuff before, and I think it was in that hour sort of distance.
Well, the brain scan or the brain doctor or something has to be within a certain miles or something. But with the way boxing's going at the minute, you never know what could happen. Really, sure you don't. You know, you probably would have never thought there was going to be so many shows in Belfast, or so. Probably never thought there was going to be a show in Letterkenny, even, to be honest. And then now look, it's all happening. So it's all in touch and distance, really. So it is.
The exhibition obviously in Letterkenny, obviously I think when obviously I was first announced that you were going to be fighting Kerr Sheridan on that show, was that you sort of trying to get a taste of pro boxing?
I'd only 2 or 3 weeks notice for that, so I think I just fought in the Irish seniors, and I had a tight fight and I fought and maybe nicked it and I never got it, and then I got a phone call the week after that and says, do you want to fight in Letterkenny in a pro show? I think I actually said on the thing it was 65 kilo. I fought at 54 kilo, but I didn't care what weight it was. I was going to fight anyway. It was too good of an opportunity to say no to, so I done it, and that fight's probably put my name out there more than any other fight I've had. So it was really ended up worth it. Do you know what I mean?
It was, you know, in my opinion, and probably a lot of people were there the night. It was the fight of the night. Obviously.
Yeah. Stole the show almost a wee bit.
It was toe-to-toe, you know, action. Was that what dipped your toe into sort of so much? So
It gave me that taste of it. Even there with fighting with the wee 8-ounce gloves on, no top on, walking down the big ramp stuff. You don't get that in amateur boxing. You don't get the big nights. It's quite just you're in and you're out. So it gave me the taste of it, and it made me realise that that's what I want to do. And I knew the elites were in January, and I knew I would stay for the elites. And then after the elites, it was time to try and turn pro then.
and obviously one of your coaches here, obviously Sam Steele, obviously reached out to me. Probably I'm going to take some credit here in some way, and obviously it suggested obviously who to sign with. You obviously signed with a good friend of mine, Ian Gaughran.
Yeah.
What a stable of fighters he's had.
Oh, brilliant.
If you look at the sort of opportunities he's sort of got fighters last year, Jamie Morrissey on the Katie Taylor card, Ruadhan Farrell, and obviously Conor Kerr in the zone card
And then
there as well.
they had them on there, the zone one is with Eddie Hearn, remember he fought, they had Rudy on with Jared as well, so it just shows you he can get you the fights, and he really is the man to be going with, in my opinion.
It's, he seems to have sort of probably found it lucky in some ways, probably a lot of hard work as well. Like, you are probably signing him with probably one of the biggest stables obviously in Ireland as well, and like, are you starting to dream of nights of obviously big cards, or are you just sort of thinking just get the debut out of the way and see how we go?
Oh, we'll get the debut out of the way, but I hope big nights are coming. Get the debut out of the way. I'm not going to go here and say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'll take one fight at a time and take it wee steps at a time, and just I want to go for it all and give it my all for the next 5-6 years and leave no stone unturned, and don't have myself coming when I'm finished boxing saying I could have done this or I could have done this. So I'm going to go for it all now and prove that I belong in there with everyone.
Obviously turning pro, like, are you still going to stay with Mickey here?
Yeah. Well, that's what I say, as we were talking about earlier, Mickey's got the professional experience. There's not many coaches out there that have had 7 or 8 or professional fights, and Mickey boxed for Ireland as an amateur, and he's got the experience in the pro game as well, which not many coaches has. So I think it will show, and me and Mickey have a great bond as well, which, as they say, a happy fighter will show. So people go from coaches. I've been with Mickey since I was 12 years old, and I would never change it, and I don't plan on changing it.
Obviously, I spoke to Mickey obviously on the phone last night.
That's right. He rang me at 11:30 last night. They say it must have been. They say he was chatting to me, but I was sleeping. I rang him back this morning and said, "What you rang me at that time for?"
Obviously, Mickey was sort of saying, that your probably style in some ways wasn't suited to the amateur code. You were sort of like a short to mid-range fighter.
Yeah.
I've seen you in action. Obviously, you like to have a tear up and everything else.
Yeah. Maybe
obviously,
sometimes too much.
but again, it's like, the good thing for you is obviously when you start out, like, you're not going to be thrown straight in the deep end.
Yeah.
You're not going to be thrown in with someone that's a very high level. Like, your first couple of fights, you probably feel like you're world class because you'd be fighting like a journeyman type fighter. Like, you're going to get time to adjust. Obviously, the sport, Ian's not just going to throw you in the deep end and go, here you're fighting a 10-round fight.
10-round fight straight away, yeah.
Like, you're going to have a couple of fights to adjust,
Yeah.
That's obviously a good
shows. Well, that's the thing. You're in there in the amateurs, and you're in there with the best of the best. You're not going to be fighting anyone maybe 4 or 5 fights into your pro career at that level, which gives you kind of the time to sit in your punches. And as you say earlier, it's a completely different sport. So it is an amateur boxing. Amateur boxing's tap, whereas pro boxing, it's in close. You're never too far out of range when you're in pro boxing.
Obviously training with Ryan Burnett, obviously that's something you do once a week, is it?
Every Thursday with Burnett, and I've been going 5-6 weeks, and the improvement already. Actually, even I train with him on a Thursday and come in to Mickey on a Friday, and he already knows the difference in my punching already, and I felt as if I had already a lot of power as an amateur, but as a pro it's going to go from hurting people to knocking people out, and I'm excited for it, to be honest.
How are you finding obviously training with a unified world champion? Like, it's probably going to be regarded, for many years, probably one of the best.
I think he was probably one of the best out of Northern Ireland, Burnett, so he was. He just never got, it was just about to really hit that pinnacle part of his career when he picked up the injury. But the likes here he brings in, he's got the British title in the gym, and he's got the 2 world titles, and when you see stuff like that as well, it gives you that hunger for it as well, and it gives you wee tips that some people will never know, because he's been there and done it. It gives you tips with cutting weight and fighting, and wee tips, wee moves in the pro game that wouldn't work in the amateurs that he's teaching me, and I'm really, really excited they show it all, to be honest.
Would you like to maybe have, obviously, hopefully I'm not going to say anything that's wrong here, but would it be good to obviously have Ryan, not only just coaching you once a week, but part of the team?
Oh, 100% it would. I said to him one time if we would ever do the coaching, but I think he's just done the rest of it and doing his wee business, and training people and then getting home to his family every night. But if that was something he would ever be up for, I'd be more than happy to have that, because
you bite his arm off.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's the improvement of me already is massive from going to him, and you're only up there for maybe an hour with him, and you feel like a novice when you go up there at the start, but that's what you're up there to do. Do you know what I mean? So no, as he learns the wee finest bit of detail about moving your hips and bringing every bit of power you have into your punches.
It's hard to think it, obviously, Ryan, for the bantamweight. Obviously, you see his size and now, obviously, in training.
He's massive
and
now,
this
he's
is
the
actually
muscles.
saying, you know, look at the difference. He's obviously seen him fight, and obviously now you see him with the top off. And
He's still like lightning, but you see whenever he's out of pads, he'll flick a jab out, make sure the hands are up, or he'll come at you and throw a couple punches, and he's faster than anybody I've been in with, and that's him maybe 20 kilo heavier than me he's fighting at, so I can't even imagine how quick he was when he was fighting, you know what I mean? And he had power as well, which is quite what I need, you know. He's a boy that's moving, and he's got power as well, so to be honest, it's the perfect type of training I need for turning pro.
He's obviously he's helped obviously a couple of pro boxers out. Obviously, Kevin Adjarko with him for a bit.
That's right. Yes.
Farrell obviously training with him a wee bit as well. Like,
yeah.
It seems to be that people go to Ryan to learn wee tips, and
we learn wee tips.
It's all about.
Well, that's it. See, people that aren't learning, they're never going to get better. So if you think you know it all, you're never going to become a better boxer. It's always about learning, and as you say, every day's a school day, really, isn't it? So it is, and I think that's the difference between me and some other people. Is I'm keen to learn, and I'm always going to learn, whereas some people maybe think they know it all, and that's when they won't learn, and that's when they get exposed, kind of, you know.
I was sort of given a bit of an exclusive. You're going to potentially make your debut on a yet to be confirmed card.
Yeah. And
it's going to be where obviously you've seen your first professional fight in the SSE Arena.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's obviously giving you a buzz that now you've turned pro. You just can't wait to get on the ring. That's
it. I'm just looking forward to getting a date so I can start my camp. But that's what it's, even that we report that up there, you know. I stay fit all the time. I train all the time. I train for my enjoyment of it. I don't train because I have to. I train every day just for the fact of enjoying it. So like once I even get a date, it won't take me long because I'm just ticking. It means then when I go into camp, I can properly focus on things, and I think that's important when you're out of camp is to stay in the gym, because you can put the weight on and then you're in camp trying to get the weight off you, and that's a big problem as well. Whereas if you're constantly at it, it's just a matter of fine details and going that extra level where you're training. Do you know what I mean?
Super bantamweight, is that correct?
Super bantam, but that's what I was saying to Ian. I fought in the Ulster Leagues at 54, which is bantam. So you know, I'll go for super bantam at the start if the weight goes alright. I maybe lost too much for the elites. Not that I lost too much, I left it in too short a time. If I can go for super bantam for the first couple and it's too easy, we could go to bantamweight. I fought in the Irish seniors at 57, so featherweight as well there as well. So there's plenty of weights to go from, and I feel I'm strong enough to go at featherweight, and I can also cut the bantamweight or super bantamweight. So that's the exciting thing.
What do you obviously, you know, being obviously a keen fan and stuff of the sport as well, like, what do you obviously make of obviously the way Irish boxing is currently going? Like, we've obviously quite a lot of talent, particularly in the super bantamweight division. Well,
that's it. There's big fights there to be made, and there's so much talk about it. Like Ruadhan and Connor was probably one of the best fights of the year. The two of them, fair play to them, the two of them went at it, and it was a great show. And I was at home watching it on the TV, and me and him we were screaming at the TV. So we were, for the two lads, you know what I mean. It was the two of them were brilliant. I had to be fair to them. So.
Where he's nearly going to put the gloves on and have a go straight away.
Well, that's it. Mickey rang me then the next day and says, you know, because me and Ian hadn't confirmed anything yet, and me and Ian have been talking for a while, but obviously you know yourself, there's a lot to be done with brain scans, medicals and vaccines and all that there, so we couldn't announce anything yet. And after that I was thinking to myself, I wish they'd hurry on with us brain scans so I can get it announced and get a date. And next thing you know, they rang me and says it was in the next week then for my brain scan. It's all working out well, you know. Them boys they're doing all the fights and stuff, but it suits me, let them fighting on, get the word out about it, and then I can come in there and start getting involved myself. So
they told you have a brain?
I know, that's what everyone said to me, they couldn't believe it. Says, did you pay them extra? They found out you had a brain, did you? Everybody says that to me.
It's something obviously as a joke sort of sometimes, the fact of the brain scan, they go, you've actually got a brain, you're like, brilliant.
I just had to pay them 200 extra, they pass it by, they say I had a brain.
You know, obviously, you know, you're going to set your goals and your dreams and things like that. Like, I know from speaking to Mickey last night that he obviously believes that you're good enough to win a British title.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Where do you sort of look to, you know, do you want to be as active as you can? Like, we've seen fighters, like I remember Sean McComb, when he first started, he had 8 fights in his first 12 months.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how many shows and stuff there
how
is.
How many they can get me, yeah.
How active do you want to be?
I would like to have 3 fights this year. 3 fights, build the record up, 2 4-rounders, a 6-rounder. Maybe on at the start of the year, and then start looking at titles. If there's a title shot on there at the start of next year, I'll take it. You know, I'm keen to get it going, and there's no point sitting about and waiting. It's time now, and there's no point wasting any time.
I guess when you look at the bantamweight division as well, obviously Ryan Burnett won British title at
That's
bantamweight.
right, yeah.
You're probably, you know, if it is going to be bantamweight, you're going to be fighting for titles at the unfortunate thing is you're probably not going to have so many obviously competition here in Ireland.
Yeah,
sort of,
yeah.
In particular, so you may need to have maybe journeyman sort of level to sort of get you up to that stage.
Well, see, that's the thing. We were over in that Salisbury in Liverpool, and I'm sparring with English Elite Champion at 54, and that's like a sparring I can go over and get as well. Do you know what I mean? There's a couple of lads over in Liverpool and go over and get it, for a bit of sparring, and it opens up doors over there really as well. So that's another option as well. So it is. But bantam, and then it's the same thing with Burnett fighting at that weight. He asked me what weight I'm sitting at now, and then I tell him, and he's kind of like, you could probably go to bantamweight because I cut such and such, and then he explains to me his weight cuts, and it kind of gives you an insight into it as well, and a good insight in it.
I guess if you've power as well, and obviously you can make a lighter weight, it's obviously going to inflict more damage.
And then sure, with the pro game, it's way in the day before. You've got 36 hours to rehydrate. Whereas in the amateurs, I made 54 on the Sunday, had to maintain that way on the Thursday, and then fight on the Friday. So it's a lot harder in the amateurs to make 54. So I do believe if I can make it as an amateur, I can make it as a pro better, stronger and fitter. But if there's more opportunities at super bantamweight, I've got the strength for that, and in due time, if I had to go to featherweight, I could do that as well.
Obviously, with the pro game, I guess a lot changes. Obviously, it's not just making weight and going and fighting. Obviously, you have to sell tickets. Obviously,
sell tickets. Well, that's it.
You're probably in the catchment area. I know. Obviously, we have a couple of pros. Obviously, you have Gerard Hughes in Ballycastle.
Yeah.
Carl Douglas obviously hasn't fought in a couple of years now in Ballymoney direction, but you're in a catchment area.
Yeah.
Where there's nobody else really here.
Nobody else around.
Like, I guess it's probably marketing yourself in the right way. I'm sure you'll do loads of interviews with papers and things like that. Like,
yeah.
Are you looking forward to growing a fan base and also be able to sell tickets to people?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to giving people in Coleraine that opportunity. They come to a boxing show and say, fuck, I know him, or I know, do you know what I mean? And it gives that extra, and there's a lot of people, even there when I announced I was turning pro, the amount of support I got from everybody was unbelievable, and obviously people sponsor me. The Anchor Bar and Poor Shirt sponsor me, and Causeway Class are giving me a place to train with me and Mickey for free as well, which is a massive opportunity as well. And it gives us plenty of doors to open, and there is plenty of people in Coleraine that are interested in boxing, and I'm hoping then the ticket sales will be the same as well then.
Sponsorship's obviously a big thing as well. You've obviously touched on a couple of sponsors, hopefully obviously there's plenty of businesses involved, and with you being a Coleraine fan as well, hopefully Coleraine
football club can get behind it. Yeah, no, 100%. I definitely.
They seem to find obviously a lot of boxers, obviously Frampton with the Crusaders, there obviously was a boxer in Larne. He's not boxing now, Kelvin McDonald.
I boxed him as an amateur. I beat him when I was amateur. He's a good lad too. He came down to sparring me for his pro debut as well. I think he's back. He's getting back at it or something.
Is he? I know he'd sort of maybe talked about come back, be sort of amateur sort of boxing and stuff like that as well. But obviously, I guess in the market sort of it is, being a Coleraine fan.
Sure, look at Owen O'Neill with the Cliftonville fans as well, and I was saying fans really an opportunity for a wee day out as well, and they love it, and you say yourself, Coleraine people support you no matter what, and they all get behind you, and that's what I love, and that's why I love being from Coleraine, and the support you get from everybody in Coleraine is undescribable as well.
You've seen the support obviously this town gets when it comes to football. Obviously Windsor Park.
Remember going up to watch someone there? Was it the Irish Cup in Windsor Park? So it was.
Is
and
that Cliftonville?
Cliftonville, Owen Bradley chipped the keeper, so he did.
That's the one.
Better not tell your man Owen O'Neill had too much.
It's the one memory I obviously have that cup final is Owen Bradley's goal, but Darren McCauley's goal was an absolute screamer.
Oh, unbelievable! I remember it. We took a 52-seater of us boys up to watch the match, and hopefully that'll be the same whenever I go to fight. We'll be taking a couple of 50-seaters up, and we'll be singing loud and proud. And
but it's that support base that that potentially is there behind you. And Owen O'Neill's a good example of that. Obviously, his fans come and they bring an atmosphere that probably sometimes does seem like. You imagine obviously fighting and people singing Coleraine songs in the crowd.
That'd be unbelievable. That would be undescribable, wouldn't it?
As long as they're not singing Buckfast.
Aye, there'll probably be something with a couple of Buckfasts in the stands. But no, as you say, the support the Coleraine football team get, and it would be something special from going there, watching Coleraine in the showgrounds, singing Coleraine songs, to fighting in places like the SSE, having people sing Coleraine songs. It would be unbelievable, and I really hope it is something that happens, and I believe it will be something that will happen.
I've obviously known the catchment area has been here before, particularly obviously I remember selling tickets for Frampton fights and having to come down with quite a pile of tickets to Coleraine, so there is a lot of boxing fans
They
here.
are.
It's just probably, I guess, it's connecting with you obviously
Connecting,
the right way,
yeah. It's about, as you say, you're selling the right way, and hopefully then I'll be able to walk into the showgrounds with a belt or something would be undescribable as well. Would be brilliant. So that would be something I would look at doing, to be honest.
How are you looking forward to obviously, I guess engaging more people on social media, obviously, putting up videos, probably talking and stuff like that at times as well. Like for some people they see that sort of, particularly with sponsorship and stuff like that, it's asking people for things like how you sort of having to adjust with that, are you sort of having to get someone in to help with that, or?
Not too bad. Social media, especially now whenever you're my age, you've been brought around social media your whole life, do you know what I mean? So that's what, ever since I've really been boxing, I like to get it published on social media and get it spread, because as you say yourself, you need to sell yourself on the platform and show people that you're putting the work in, because if people see you and think, he's not training, he's not doing this, they're not going to support you. But people in Coleraine they see me out running around the streets and they see me up here training, driving through the heights, they come training, and it shows to them that I'm putting the work in, and that's what they like to see around here. They like seeing somebody put the work in, and as I says, everybody in Coleraine gets behind you 110%.
How has your mindset changed, obviously, now from being an amateur to now making your professional debut? Like, you're obviously not going to become a superstar overnight.
No, that's it.
I guess you've that extra sort of bounce in your sort of step. Sort of now you can sort of tell people I'm a professional boxer.
Well, that's it. It's still the same. Like even whenever I was an amateur, me and Mickey were up training. We'd rent this place out. We were up here training in the mornings, training at night. It was the same as I've always really been full-time training. There was full-time training for the Ulster Seniors. Last summer, I never done anything last summer but train. I went and done the Ulster Seniors and got a walkover through into the Ulster Seniors, and then I thought to myself, I've done all that for no reason, but I didn't, because then I went straight away and entered the Irish Seniors, and then I just came out of the Irish Seniors and just straight back into camp again. And that's obviously when I got the phone call for about Letterkenny. So it does show you, all your hard work, it pays off, so it does, and it shows, if you're not training hard, it will show in the end, so it will. If you go into the ring and you haven't been training, it's going to show.
Obviously with all the kids here in Churchland as well, like they're all going to look up to you as a role model now, that they're all going to be telling their friends and their family that's professional boxers.
Yeah, that's it.
How are you obviously feeling adapting to that? Obviously they're now going to look up to you as their idol, and it's only going to be a matter of time before someone starts asking for an autograph. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad the steps you go through it all. No, the wee kids in the boxing club, I'm just happy because they've kind of now got themselves a target. They have to say, if Matty can do it, I can do it, and there isn't any reason why any of them can't do it. And that's why even there we train every Tuesday and Thursday night, and I'll be up here every Tuesday and Thursday night. Even if I'm not on camp, I'll still be up here. They show the kids that you don't take time off, and you do keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. You can be up here not training, but you just show your face every time and just keep showing up, really. And doesn't matter if you've lost 4 fights, doesn't matter if you've lost 10, just keep showing up, and all the hard work will pay off.
Probably bringing it back for you as well, from obviously you looking at Mickey obviously as a role model for you.
Definitely.
And obviously now the kids are going to look to you as a role model as well. Like, it's a good sort of thing to have, the pressure on your shoulders for the kids to look up to you. And now that you've made the jump and you're the first pro in Coleraine in 25 years, there could be somebody else could follow.
There could be somebody else. There's plenty of boys in that boxing club that could turn pro. Everybody in this club has the ability, and hopefully there is. Never know, it could be my wee brother. So it could.
You never know, as I say, it can start a transition very quickly. Obviously, when it takes one, that done.
Well, see, it opens the doors as well. Like, there's probably, like, if I go here to shows and I sell tickets, the managers and promoters are going to turn around and say, them boys from Coleraine can sell tickets, and that's what managers really, they look for that as well as your fighting skills, obviously, but it's the ticket sales as well, because that's what pays for the shows. So they can kind of see with the young boys then and say, right, well, maybe we'll sign another couple of boys from Coleraine. And that's opens doors, and now managers, some people don't even know where Coleraine is, do you know what I mean? And now it's about getting out there and letting everyone know where Coleraine is and who's from Coleraine.
Obviously everybody's going to now start thinking you're a professional boxer, you're a millionaire. It's everybody's got that concept.
I don't work like that, but sadly.
Professional boxers are millionaires. Like, obviously, probably your first 5 or 10 fights, you might make money.
You might lose money.
Money, people sometimes look at that and they go, oh, you're going to be minted now, you're going to be making 50 grand a fight. Like, people don't understand
doesn't work like that.
You can fight for nothing.
Yeah, no, well, look, I've been doing the amateurs, and at least in the pro you get a bit. You might not, you could be down money, but when you think about it, when I'm an amateur, I'm travelling to Belfast for sparring, and I'm paying for my sessions, and I'm paying for gym use, and paying for supplements and stuff like that. So I'm down money anyway. I'm not in boxing for money, I'm in boxing for the love of it, and to get achievements as well. That's my main goal.
When obviously you look at growing up, Frampton, obviously being a role model and things like that for you, who do you sort of look at now, obviously, in terms of sure you study the sport still as
Yeah.
well. Who do you sort of look to try and
mimic kind of their style?
Yeah.
I like Anua, especially the fact he's at my weight as well.
you're not calling him out here, are you?
No,
Your debut?
not yet. No, he's the type of style, and as you say, he's a big puncher as well, which I believe I am as well. So I don't think anybody at super bantamweight would hit as hard as me, but you know, obviously there's a lot more than punching people hard in boxing. You know, it's not just as easy as just getting on and hitting them and that's it. You know what I mean? It's about setting your punches and setting traps and making them fall under your shots, which in due time, as you say, building my record up with a couple of journeymen at the start, and that will really, and I do think I will show my power in my first couple of fights, and it'll be on show from the start.
Well, look, obviously, thank you very much for your time. Obviously, 30 minutes in your first interview. Obviously, I can show that. I know you were sort of saying it's your first time doing an interview as well.
I've never done an interview before in my life.
Obviously, you've done 30 minutes. Sometimes we're lucky to get people for 5 minutes because they really speak. But obviously, congratulations on moving pro. We hope you're going to get some news very soon and get your debut. But we'll look forward to following the journey.
No, 100%. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Very good.
Matty, take
Cheers.
care.
Thank you. Cheers.